Hello, welcome to this tropical update. So let's see, we still have that disturbance in the Philippines there, causing some heavy rain. And we still have the disturbance in the Pacific, but it's now at a 30% chance. It downgraded a little bit from yesterday, so let's see, a broad area of low pressure located 700 miles west-southwest of the southern tip of Baja California continues to produce disorganized showers and thunderstorms, while a short-lived tropical depression could still form during the next day or so. The window for further development is closing, with stronger wind shear and cooler waters anticipated by Thursday. The system is forecast to move west-northwest at about 10 miles per hour across the western part of the basin. So this could still turn into something in the next few hours, but it's low percentage. So let's see this new disturbance that we have there now. So let's see, an area of low pressure is likely to form by this weekend a few hundred miles off the south of the coast of southern Mexico. Some slow development of the system is possible early next week, while it moves westward to west-northwestward 10 to 15 miles per hour. So 0% in the next 2 days and 20% in the next 7 days. So that's a new area there. And in terms of development, maybe this one has a better shot here. So I guess we'll see. The Atlantic is still quiet, and by the end of this video we'll talk something long range about the Atlantic, so stick up if you want to hear that. And let's see some models for the Western Pacific now and some stuff. So this is the system from the Eastern Pacific. It's kind of disorganized there, and the models take it west there, but less than a tropical storm, like barely a tropical depression. So this will just stay out to sea and probably not form into anything big. So there's the invest near the Philippines, and take a look at the amount of convection there. That's some extremely heavy thunderstorms and heavy rain, so please be careful. I think we have a bunch of flood advisories there and everything, so please be careful with that rain. But we'll show you the models in a second. And it shows we have another invest there now, but just on tropical Tibets. They didn't designate it here yet. So let's see, invest 92W. It shows it's in the middle of the ocean there, like near Palau, I think that is, not very sure. But it shows this is the invest I talked about yesterday that could go towards Japan and Taiwan and China there, that the GFS was going crazy. So let's see, some models take it towards Taiwan. Yeah, most are take it towards China and Taiwan there, but this doesn't have intensity guidance. And yeah, generally through the southern islands of Japan, maybe the Koreas, China, or into Taiwan there. But I think by tomorrow or later it will show up here, but it's not there yet. Let's see some models here. So let's see Western Pacific. This is the latest GFS. The disturbance in the Philippines there, and then it goes to the South China Sea and kind of approaches China there, but very, very weak. Then it dissipates because of the bigger system. And then the other system, it has kind of two low pressures trying to form, and this one becomes more dominant and goes towards Taiwan as a very strong typhoon, and then hits Taiwan and goes into China. And this other low pressure, not sure if it will be tropical, because most of the convection will be on the east side, but then it goes towards Japan and kind of affects there. But this intensity here, I think, is a little bit exaggerated still by the GFS. So let's see the Euro here, the heavy rain in the Philippines there, then it goes into the South China Sea, and the Euro kind of forms a tropical storm there, and kind of goes towards China as something weak. But and then it starts forming the other system there, but this run is out. So let's see the 0Z that goes further. So wait here, the system there kind of trying to form into something, and goes towards southeastern China, something very weak. And that other one forming, it turns like into a low-end typhoon and goes into China and the Koreas there by the European model. So I think we have a very big shot of this next system forming there and going towards those areas. They gotta watch this already. So let's see. The Neptune, we have the heavy rain in the Philippines there because of that system, and then the other one forming. This system kind of goes to southeastern China as a tropical storm, and then it has this turn into a stronger typhoon there, but still not sure about that intensity. But the run goes out. So let's see the Canadian model. So it has the system in the Philippines, the heavy rain there. Then it goes into the South China Sea, tries to form a tropical storm there, and goes into like, it's taking it more into Taiwan than southeastern China, but it goes like into Taiwan and eventually China and the Koreas there. So this is a different track from the Canadian. And that other system there starts forming in the Pacific and goes north to the southern islands of Japan, and then goes into South Korea and Japan there, and curves out. So the intensity, I think this is kind of realistic. It could happen, but we don't know yet for sure. But if you live in like the southern islands of Japan, eastern China, Taiwan, and the Koreas, and even Japan, you gotta monitor this. So let's see the icon here. It has it barely has the system in the Philippines there, just some weak rains going to China, so it doesn't have anything there, but it has the other system forming there, and then it takes a while to form, but then it gets itself together closer to Taiwan and China there, and goes into that general area by July 25th. So let's see, the average time that this might impact is about between July 22nd and July 25th, this next system that is coming. So it's still a week out, so we can't know the intensity yet, but it's about that time span that it will happen. So yeah, so for now this is it for the Western Pacific. We'll continue to monitor and also monitor if you are in those areas. So this is the Eastern Pacific. We have that disturbance there now. It tries to form, but it dies very quickly. I don't think this will become something, but it could try to become a tropical depression there. And then the other system, the Euro doesn't have anything yet. Maybe a low pressure there by Saturday, but nothing big. Let's see the 0Z European. So it tries to form some low pressures there, but no consolidated cycle. Just this, it tries to spin up some low pressures, but they don't really make it. So let's see the GFS here. It has that system trying to form, but rapidly dying, and then it has that other system forming there in the Eastern Pacific and going kind of towards Mexico and then dying off. So the GFS has that other one forming. Let's see the icon. It also has a low pressure trying to get going there, and it goes very close to Mexico and then goes out. So the icon also has that forming. So let's see some stuff here. Some rainfall totals from the GFS. So let's see. So this is until this Saturday. Has more rain in parts of Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, especially Panama there has some heavy rains in parts of Mexico too. Then as this system forms, it has more heavy rains in western Mexico there later. And then by next Friday, July 26th, it has more heavy rain in Central America through next week, a little bit more in some areas. So let's see the European model. So So this is until Saturday, July 21st. He has more rains in Mexico from the monsoon, a little bit more in northern Honduras and Nicaragua, a little bit less than the GFS in Panama, but more in Costa Rica, and yeah, and some more rains throughout there. So let's see here. Let's see some rainfall for the Philippines now. So this is the European. Just in the next 24 hours, it shows some areas more than 100 millimeters there, and then 97, 90, some 80 millimeters. But especially those central areas there will be most hit. So 100 millimeters going northwest there, 70, 50 millimeters, and dissipating a little bit. But especially in those areas there, just in the next 24 hours. In the next 3 days, it gets worse. And then in parts of central western Philippines, we have more than 200 millimeters in many areas, 159, 133. So further south, it's fine. But in those western areas, west central areas, has some tremendous rainfall totals. So be careful there. And in the next 5 days, even more, a little bit. So let's see how the rest is doing. So India is still battling some very heavy rain. So in the next 3 days, just it shows some tremendous rain for central and eastern India. So these areas of central going to eastern India there, we will have a lot of storms and rain. So please be careful there. Get the word out. So the next 24 hours, a little bit more around Talai, and the next 3 days through all those areas, and then in western India, of course, because of the monsoon. So more than 200 millimeters throughout western India in the next 3 days. In the next 5 days, it gets even worse, more than 300 millimeters in the west coast, and then it's even higher in some areas there, 400 millimeters, 300 in central and eastern India. So please be careful. Nepal has a lot in some spots too. Myanmar, the monsoon is very heavy. So this in the next 5 days has a lot through southern Myanmar, central southern Myanmar, more than 100 millimeters, and through western Myanmar there, along the Bay of Bengal. And then northern Myanmar there, some areas more than 200 millimeters in the next 5 days. And Laos is still very wet, more than 100 millimeters the next 5 days in many areas. Through southern Vietnam shows another hot spot in the next 5 days. Cambodia, especially northern and eastern Cambodia, more than 100 millimeters, and southwestern Cambodia. So I'll take my finger away here. These areas of southwestern Cambodia there, more than 100 millimeters. Southern Thailand there, those areas more than 200. It's showing, and eastern Thailand, especially in the next 5 days, shows more than 100 millimeters throughout to some other areas of Thailand. So let's see the difference. So next 3 days and next 5 days, yeah. So more storms in China there. Some areas with some really high accumulations. More storms through eastern China, through North and South Korea. So let's see. Next 24 hours, more North Korea because of this system coming in. The next 3 days, some more in South Korea. The next 5 days, more there. So more than 100 millimeters in some areas. Southern Russia, northern China, some more too. A little bit in Mongolia, more in eastern Kazakhstan. Let's see some in Georgia, Azerbaijan, Tajikistan, Kyrgyzstan, some showers just, and maybe a storm or two in northern Pakistan, and then India there. So yeah, this is it, I think. For Japan, it shows some areas of west and central Japan, is close to 100 millimeters and even more in some areas there. So this picture here is the Euro. Let's see the GFS. So the GFS has some spots in China, more in the east coast in the Koreas, more in southern Cambodia than northern Cambodia. It has less than the Euro for Vietnam, a lot in Myanmar, a lot for central and eastern India, western India. Yeah, and it has more for western, northwestern Philippines than those central areas of the Philippines. So the GFS is different, but you never know. But I trust more the Euro. So stay safe in those areas, and let's see some long stuff for the Atlantic. So let's see. So this outlook here was updated like 3 days ago. And then for week 2, July 24th to July 30th, we have high probabilities of tropical cyclone formation in the Western Pacific, some above average rainfall possible in Australia, parts of Southeast Asia, some points of Africa. Let's see, and then it has for the Eastern Pacific possible too, and some areas of above average rainfall and some areas of below average, and then in West Africa some above average. But take a look at week 2 down in the Atlantic. So between July 31st and August 6th, they have already some 20% tropical cyclone formation probabilities for the Atlantic, like in the first days of August. So this is new. We gotta keep monitoring that, but there's nothing coming yet. There's nothing imminent, just tropical waves there. So you can relax for now and go to the beach. But in the beginning of August, we will monitor for some more development there. And it still has for the Eastern Pacific some higher probabilities, and still a little bit in the Western Pacific. So yeah, we'll see what happens. So let's see this thing here. Wait, okay, so we're still unfavorable now, but the favorable environment is almost close. So it's favorable in the Pacific and Indian Ocean, and some unfavorable in the Atlantic and Central Pacific. But we're getting close to that favorable, and then by August 1st there, that favorable kicks up in the Atlantic, and then for the central middle part of August, it continues some very favorable environment there. It's showing. So yeah, let's see what else here. So this is the Mehmet and Julian Isolation. It's now like in the maritime continent or into the Western Pacific, and it might get to the Western Hemisphere, like the Atlantic again, by early August and those points. So yeah. So this is it, I think. Stay safe. Bye.